Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Social Sciences, SOSS, Master's Degree Programs, MA in Psychology, MAPC, Second Year, MPCE 0 to 3 Interventions in Counseling, Block-4 Counsellng, Future Directions, E-Counselling, Unit-3 Future Direction, 3.0 Introduction. In today's scenario, counseling is not only advisable but has become the requirement of the individuals. Not only the person who is suffering from any type of mental problem, but many times counseling is a demand by the persons who feels any type of stress, conflict, pressure, frustration or any type of adjustment problems. Day by day, new academic and training courses are being started in the area of counseling by different organizations. But still it is lacking in most of the sectors. Nowadays, individual counseling can be received by the person working in any organization related to any field due to the appointment of trained counselors in these fields. Also, for managing the time and financial problems, the online counseling is also coming forward. Online counseling is also known as e-counselling. Individual counseling takes time to go to the place of counselor and approach the counselor regularly. In previous unit, techniques of individual counseling have been discussed. In this unit, focus would be more on e-counseling as it is modern upcoming approach. 3.1 Objectives. After reading this unit, you will be able to explain the masses about the development and advancement of counseling in different countries, enlist the benefits and limitations of online counseling and career opportunities in this area, and elucidate the necessity of counseling in different areas that may affect not only the mental health of the person but also to improve the growth of any individual, organization or country. 3.2 Application of Counseling, Psychology. Nowadays the world is going very fast. Each and every child faces many hurdles in their growth and development. The child cannot enjoy his or her childhood because he has to run in the race since beginning starts from his or her developmental stage. Sometimes they can face the problems and sometimes they cannot cope up and feel stress. The elders cannot understand the child's psychology. In this way, it is necessary that every school should have at least one counselor with whom the child may share his feelings. Because of training, the counselors are capable to assess the problem of the child. They can help the child to release their emotions and they can help them to search a meaning in their life. With the help of the counselor, the child learns to cope up with their day-to-day life problems. Unfortunately, only some schools has counselors. In college also a special wing should be of counseling which can deal with the emotional problems of the youths. Every second person in the world is dissatisfied with his or her day-to-day problems, environment or with job etc. If he or she is satisfied, may feel pressure of work or stress to complete the responsibility at hand. The people are facing interpersonal problems every day. Every person at some time or other time needs counselor who would have empathy and a positive unconditioned regards towards him, who can listen the person carefully and who can let him motivate to adapt the best coping skills suitable for a person's further growth. In industry or any organization, counselor can work to improve for better interpersonal skills for the employer or can develop team spirit in a group or they motivate the employee or employer to control their emotional aspects so that overall growth of the individual and organization can be enhanced. In hospital setting, not only in psychiatric wing but also in every department, counselors are required. In every chronic or terminal illness, the chances to develop anxiety, depressive features, conflicts, stress, negative thoughts etc. are high. If the counselor go to visit and counsel the patient like other doctors, the patient would feel good, but it should not be for the commercial purpose. In humanitarian ground, the every person should take breath of relief and feel satisfied with life. In some countries they have arrangements like they have family counselors or personal counselors. In society and communities, the members can also have a counselors club to deal with the emotional issues. The human being is sometimes tapped with emotions. They do everything to make themselves happy but do not think about to control or cope up with their emotional issues. The counseling, especially psychological counseling, helps them a lot. 3.3 Development of counseling. Counseling psychology has now been given division status in the International Association of Applied Psychology, IAP. This came about at the 2002 Congress of Applied Psychology in Singapore, where the Board of Directors of IAP voted to create Division 16 of Counseling Psychology, Leon Savikas. 2007, an international review was planned to consider the discipline of counseling psychology. In 12 different countries across the world, the USA has the longest established independent profession in counseling psychology. In 1946, the American Psychological Association, APA, reorganized personnel and guidance psychologists with Division 17. A change which reportedly came about through senior members of Division 17 using the term counseling rather than personnel. This was in large part driven by the awareness raised by Carl Rogers, a psychologist who in 1942 had published his first book, Counselling and Psychotherapy, followed in 1951 by his major work Client-Centered Therapy. Following an important conference sponsored by Division 17 in 1951 on the training of counseling psychologists, the impetus was set in motion for a further name change to Division 17, Counseling Psychology, and the conformation of this field as a specialty, APA, 1956. In 1974, the foundation of the National Register of Health Service Providers in Psychology focused on the training and accreditation of counseling psychologists in the USA and included the specification of psychology in the title of accredited programs and the doctoral level training for counseling psychologists. In 2003, the division changed its name to the Society of Counseling Psychology. Emphasis was on unity through diversity. The Society of Counseling Psychology has proved to be popular as a division within the APA and currently has the second largest division membership after clinical psychology. Two national organizations are recognized as having influenced the development of the profession of counseling psychology in Canada, the Canadian Psychological Association, CPA, and the Canadian Counselling Association, CCA. In 1986, the CPA outlines the requirements for training in the different regions, with requirements covering both doctoral and master's level. One interesting aspect of counseling psychology in Canada arises from the fact that officially the country is bilingual and multicultural. Yet the development of counseling psychology appears to have taken somewhat different routes in the French-speaking and English-speaking areas. According to Brown and Crone, 2004, the term counseling psychology was first officially used in discussion at the Australian Psychological Society, APS. In 1970, the Division of Counseling Psychologists of the APS was formally established in 1976. In 1983, the division became the Board of Counseling Psychology. The current title, the College of Counseling Psychology, introduced in 1993, and pointing to the growth of private practice. Also, there are only 5 accredited training courses in counseling psychology throughout the country, all offered by universities. Notwithstanding these factors, counselling psychology as a profession is well recognized in Australia, with work opportunities across a wide range of domains. The New Zealand branch of the BPS was made in 1947 and later the independent New Zealand Psychological Society, NZPSS, was established in 1967, the passing of the Psychologists Act in 1981, and its replacement with the Health Practitioners Competence Assurance Act of 2003. A division of counselling psychology formally came into being in 1985 with an initial membership of 32. The Institute of Counselling Psychology was established at the annual conference of the NZPSS. Currently, the field of counselling psychology in New Zealand continues to expand to become a separate identity and the establishment of a solid training ground. Counselling psychology in Hong Kong, China, Korea and Japan. The Hong Kong Psychological Society, HKPS, now has 4 professional divisions covering the domains of clinical, educational, industrial, organizational, and the most recent one, the Division of Counselling Psychology, established in 2006. Due to the relative lack of formal counselling psychology training opportunities in Hong Kong, this professional group is made up of people who have done a first degree in psychology and then gone on to undertake counselling therapeutic training. The situation in China is rather different from that in Hong Kong. Since 1978, China has opened its doors to a broader influence in the support of economic development. The influence of counselling psychology theories and practices have some way to go in China. This helping profession is rooted in the medical model and medical settings. Also, practice of psychological therapy, e.g. psychoanalysis, was carried out by medical doctors in hospitals as the Chinese Association for Mental Health, CAM, established in 1985, was also composed mainly of medical practitioners. The rapid rate of change since the political shift from agriculture to industry is seen as positive for the growth of counselling psychology in China, with the series of workshops in the late 1980s by the German-Chinese Academy of Psychotherapy.
Counselling psychology achieved its independence in 1987 with the establishment of its own division, entitled the Korean Counselling Psychological Association, KCPA. The division publishes the Korean Journal of Counselling and Psychotherapy since 1988. KCPA operates a certification system which demands evidence of high standards of training, practice and supervision, and which has also been instrumental in promoting the image of a highly trained, ethical and professional group of practitioners. Although there has been an influx of ideas derived from the American setting in Japan, there has been no concerted effort to establish a local professional identity. Counselling psychology has been recognized and legislated in South Africa since 1974, along with the specialties of clinical, research and industrial psychology. Originally established to report to the Medical and Dental Council, counselling psychology now reports to the Health Professions Council of South Africa, HPCSA, and has its own division within the Psychological Society of South Africa. According to Leach et al., 2003, 6 out of the 20 universities in South Africa offer training programs in counselling psychology, 3 of these combining theoretical teaching relevant to counselling, clinical and educational settings. The profession first emerged in the context of Afrikaner nationalism, reportedly as a contrast to the more English and liberally identified field of clinical psychology, although the psychology profession as a whole was at that time regarded as racist. Currently, counselling psychologists as a professional group comprise approximately 1/3 of all registered psychologists. The majority of the profession as a whole are white, female and work in private practice. Watson and Foch, 2007, highlight a number of challenges facing the profession in the context of a transformation in South African society, drawing attention to foster more collaborative activities which could meet the needs of the society of which it is a part. While psychology in India is represented by a number of key professional bodies, including the Indian Association of Clinical Psychologists, there has not been a move to develop a distinct identity for psychologists involved in counseling. A limited number of courses on counseling are on offer, but the quality of training is not monitored for these. There is the need for both Western and Indian philosophies and ideas to come together to form theories and approaches that have greater face validity to the Indian population and which therefore might more adequately meet identified needs. For example, Arulmani, 2007, draws attention to the fact that traditional Indian psychology, referred to as Manovidya or mind knowledge, is recorded in ancient Indian writings documenting the existence of psychological ideas and techniques that bear a startling resemblance to ideas put forth by modern Western psychology and yet predate these efforts by 2 millennia. Apparently, there is now some activity in this direction, with the development of psychological inventories that draw on traditional Indian psychology, Wolf, 1998. While counseling psychology as a specialty in its own right has not flourished in Israel, vocational psychology, as a related field, has been very successful. Activities subsumed under the banner of vocational psychology include career counseling, selection and assessment, and organizational psychology. Counseling psychology does not exist as a recognized specialty in most of mainland Europe, although there are many psychologists who are working within a practice framework which bears comparisons with what counseling psychologists are doing, for example, in the UK. Although counselors on the one hand work with the theme of accompanying and connection, as a professional group there appears to be no interest in forming professional allegiances or identities. The term counselling does not have a direct equivalent in the French language. The nearest work is conseil, which translates as advice. While Rogerian ideas on counseling have found their way into French thinking and practice since the 1970s, the practice is generally regarded as very different from psychotherapy. Although there are postgraduate programs available for the training of counseling psychologists, there is no professional organization of the field. Also, there appears to be significant competition from other groups of counselors who have not come from a psychological background, e.g., career counseling teachers having no specialist training in that field. The professional title in Germany is psychological psychotherapist. In Germany, a 4-year degree in psychology to master's level is followed by 3 years of full-time training in psychotherapy and 1 full year of practice. The 3 main modalities covered are described as psychoanalysis, psychotherapy and behavior therapy, although no detail is given as to what is included in the psychotherapy modality. The Hellenic Psychological Society, HPS, was founded in 1990 in Thessaloniki, with the aim of promoting teaching and research as well as supporting practice across different areas of psychology. HPS has 10 divisions including the division of counseling psychology. In Greece, the term psychologist and related professional activities are protected by law. Association of Counselling Psychology was founded in 2006. This association recognizes that most European countries do not have a formally recognized specialty in counseling psychology, but that there are many counseling psychologists in different European countries who have trained abroad and returned with that professional identity. The aim of the association is therefore to support the development and application of counseling psychology in Europe, and is likely to provide a forum for professional exchange as well as networking opportunities. The association already has members from Greece, Malta, Ireland, the UK, Italy and Spain. 3.4 Counseling psychology and career psychology is defined by the American Psychological Association as the study of the mind and behavior. The discipline embraces all aspects of the human experience, from the functions of the brain to the actions of nations, from child development to care for the aged. In every conceivable setting, from scientific research centers to mental health care services, the understanding of behavior is the enterprise of psychologists. The most recent official definition of counseling is as follows: although there are different branches of psychology, counseling psychology and psychotherapy are being used more frequently in person and online by email to address the complex issues that are present in today's world. Counseling psychology is a distinctive profession within psychology with a specialist focus, which links most closely to the allied professions of psychotherapy and counseling. It pays particular attention to the meanings, beliefs, context and processes that are constructed both within and between people and which affect the psychological well-being of the person. BPS website, 2007. There is no area where the people are not suffering from any adjustment problems and day-to-day life stress. The counseling psychologist not only relaxes the person but make the person realize his or her abilities and limitations. Counselors also train their client to improve the interpersonal relationships through many techniques. They make the client learn the new ways of coping strategies for their problems and growth. The practice of counseling, where one individual seeks guidance from another, is an age-old concept and is defined as guidance provided by professional counselors in academic, vocational, and personal matters. Counseling psychologists, more than clinical psychologists, focus on issues that revolve around family, work and self, such as relationship and development issues, where clinical psychologists focus on mental health issues with more serious implications. A counseling psychologist is in essence a problem solver. They evaluate role functioning, the possible results and the options available to achieve them. They listen to the problem, analyze it in terms of present events and conscious, rational thinking rather than unconscious motivations. In the traditional method of counseling, an individual would seek the assistance of a psychologist in person at the office of the therapist. While this method of counseling is still in practice, the advent of the internet has provided counseling psychologists and other mental health care professionals the means to offer their services online to individuals who may not be able or prefer not to participate in the traditional method of therapy. To pursue this career, one has to have a genuine interest in people. As a science, it is a systematic approach to the understanding of people and their behavior. As a profession, it is the application of the understanding of human behavior to help solve human problems. Since psychology deals with human behavior, psychologists apply their knowledge and techniques to a wide range of human services, management, education, law and sports. Counseling psychologists do many of the same things that clinical psychologists do. However, counseling psychologists tend to focus more on persons with adjustment problems, rather than on persons suffering from severe psychological disorders. There are some psychologists that hold the opinion that psychotherapy and counseling are not two separate fields of study. A Guide to Psychology and Its Practice, by Raymond Lloyd Richmond. One can pursue his career by providing online counseling sessions. Online counseling can help a person cope with life problems that affect men and women of all ages. These can include adjustments to difficult situations such as transitions, changes, loneliness, health conditions, chronic or life-threatening illnesses, disability, relationship conflicts, job stresses, midlife crises, parenting challenges, adoption searches and reunions, unplanned pregnancies, marital problems, step-family or blended family issues, family conflict, weight struggles, anorexia, bulimia, disordered eating, or loss and grief following death, adoption relinquishment, pregnancy loss, separation, or divorce. E-counselling is convenient and time-efficient to sit at the home or office computer and compose an email. It is cost-effective, at about half the cost of face-to-face therapy or counseling. Many individuals who choose e-counseling tend to present dilemmas that require brief solution-oriented therapy with about 4 to 6 sessions to fulfill their needs. A smaller number of people seek ongoing sessions as they grapple with longer-term issues. 3.5 E-Counselling, an introduction. Email counseling is method of providing advice and guidance on a one-to-one basis from a professional counselor, psychologist or mental health practitioner to an individual privately via electronic mail instead of the traditional format of face-to-face consultation. The types of problems addressed cover the full range of the human experience in relationship to self and others. In many cases, email counseling is supported by self-help behavior modification exercises. E-counseling just be a one-time consultation or a series of email sessions. It is convenient and time-efficient to sit at home or office computer and compose an email. It is cost-effective, at about half the cost of face-to-face therapy or counseling. When many changes happen together in clusters, the result may be emotional overload. One may feel overwhelmed and need some time to reflect and reorganize one's life. The privacy and anonymity provided by email may be appealing, disinheriting, and comfortable. The internet also breaks down obstacles for those who have challenges accessing resources due to physical disabilities or communication challenges such as hearing impairment, speech or language difficulties. One may live in a remote area where there is little access to qualified professionals for counseling. One of the real values of working online is being enabled to say what one might find difficult to say directly to someone. Some of the reasons for using email counseling as follows. 1. Email counseling provides personal space, comfort and safety for individuals who have difficulty discussing their personal problems directly with another person. For some individuals, it is easier to express themselves in writing than face-to-face or on the telephone. Email counseling offers a level of personal privacy that goes beyond the capabilities of telephone therapy and face-to-face treatment provides. 2. With email counseling, one can take as much time as he wants to compose his thoughts, reflect on his responses and those of the counselor, responding to them when he is ready. Counseling by email provides an excellent way to track his progress and review past session notes. 3. Email or online counseling guidelines are set by professional organizations. The California Board of Behavioral Sciences sets stringent guidelines for licensed professionals and provides information to consumers at their website. The California Board of Behavioral Sciences, 4. Online or email counseling provides access to individuals who are physically handicapped, or those who will not or cannot access local treatment. People with speaking or hearing disabilities, those with concerns about the opinions of others can avail themselves of therapy. 5. Many misunderstandings and misinterpretations that occur in face-to-face therapy may be minimized using email counseling. Paul J. Hanag, Ph.D. MPCE, Psychotherapy Help. Online counseling can be divided into 5 major categories. 1. Behavioral modification counseling provided by psychologists, psychiatrists and other mental health professionals via video conferencing systems. 2. Mental health advice or information via email to give specific requested information. 3. Online counseling used in conjunction to face-to-face services. 4. E-therapy, regular counseling sessions provided online via chat applications or email. 5. Full-service counseling and mental health advice online.
The primary benefit of online counseling or email counseling is the fact that the sessions are conducted in the privacy of the individual's home or office. In addition to email as the medium for counseling, some therapists also use telephone and video conferencing services. Email counseling facilitates personal and interpersonal functioning in different phases of lifespan with a special emphasis on personal, emotional, social, vocational, educational, health-related and developmental issues. How to start e-counseling session. The process of counseling is one of self-discovery and interactive evaluation methods, such as an online relationship quiz and love test. Relationship quiz and love test by Alina Rugrok provide support to their one-on-one counseling by email. Assessment tools such as this test help individuals to gain insight into how their behavior translates into actions. There are many online therapists and counselors who provide other types of self-help tools in the form of CD-ROMs, books, and audiovisual exercises. Many therapists provide offline sessions in different formats, As an adjunct to email counseling, the service administrator will ask the client to complete a registration and agreement form, which he can then email back to the counselor. This will include information about the keeping of records and confidentiality arrangements of the counseling service. The client will then be informed about when to expect his first email contact with the counselor. If he feels comfortable to go ahead, a number of e-appointments, email exchanges, will be agreed. Initially, this would be up to 5 email exchanges, and these will be at weekly intervals. Extended counseling of up to 10 further e-appointments is possible in some cases, and this will usually involve a waiting period, whilst email counseling, e-counselling, can help with a wide range of difficulties. This is not a service for immediate crisis, for people feeling suicidal or with diagnosed mental illness. There are many online or email counseling services. However, as with any medical service, it is important to check the references and be certain of one's payment responsibilities for online or email counseling services. Face-to-face consultations as video conferencing over the internet via webcams may be available. Some family therapy, couple or parental counseling sessions may take place in the home. Many, however, were still uncomfortable with video conferencing, with around 20–30% of participants rating it as not at all or a little helpful compared with face-to-face therapy. 3.6 E-Counselling benefits and challenges. There has been no shortage of benefits and challenges associated with online therapy identified in the literature to date. While limited empirical evidence exists regarding the perceptions of and/or the effects of these benefits and challenges in practice, Abbott, Klein, Sikomsky, 2008, Bischoff, 2004, Casey Harford, Kavanagh, Shapiro, 2004, Griffiths, Farrer, Christensen, 2007, Hunt, Shochet, King, 2005, Pollock, 2006, Recupero, 2005, Rochlin, Zach, Speyer, 2004, Sim, 2004. From www.afs.gov.au/afarc/pubs right bracket benefits 1. Increased accessibility, for example, for rural and remote persons, although limited by bandwidth and availability of carriers, single or at-home parents, people with a disability, in cases of fear of violence or intimidation, people with agoraphobia, people who are relocating but want to work with the same therapist, fast-paced lifestyles, unusual employment hours. 2. Offers solution to shortfall in psychotherapy services. 3. When email is used, the written word may be expressive for some, can think through and reflect on content before sending. 4. Anonymity, privacy, convenience, often in comfort of own home. 5. Disinhibition and internalization, that is, core issues addressed more quickly, matters expressed more freely. 6. Enhanced self-reflection, in the case of asynchronous communication, can revisit treatment communications from therapists in own time. 7. Therapists can respond to specialist areas of concern, regardless of geographical location. 8. Available any time of day, where service models permit. 9. May be particularly viable for computer-savvy young people and children. 10. Allows clinician time to be freed up for others and reduces the number of face-to-face sessions. 11. Increased flexibility of services. 12. Affordability challenges. 1. Practical and technical concerns, for example, skills deficiencies, computer illiteracy. Older people and those from a different cultural background may feel less comfortable. 2. Lack of visual cues, nonverbal cues, and misunderstandings arising from this, not able to observe how couples or family members interact. 3. Time delays between contact and response in asynchronous communication. 4. Diminished capacity to deal with any crisis. 5. Verifying credentials of therapist, verifying that therapist and/or client is the person online. 6. Technical failures, limited access to communications infrastructure, unreliable bandwidth connections. 7. Security risks, email misdirected through error in address, intercepted by hackers, computer programming errors. 8. Client may expect services to be free. 9. Legal and ethical issues, including confidentiality, privacy. 10. Lack of therapist training. 3.7 Ethical issues in E-Counselling. Many ethical issues associated with the delivery of online therapy are noted in the literature. Issues are often similar to face-to-face therapy, but may be considered more difficult to address due to the nature of the online environment. Some authors, however, draw attention to the specific characteristics of the online environment that make it a safer alternative than face-to-face. There is some concern that the unrestricted nature of the online environment is allowing therapists to operate under less stringent ethical guidelines than face-to-face therapy. For example, in the review of e-therapy websites conducted, Santhiviran, 2009, few websites discussed limits to confidentiality, and only 12% of sites promoted how treatment records are maintained. It is considered vital to give enough information so that consumers can provide informed consent to take part in online therapy. Abbott et al., 2008, including a standardized list of risks and benefits included in consent forms. Yabarra Eaton, 2005, Shears by 2009, pointed out that mediums such as Facebook, with the ability to search for and invite other users to be friends, are uncharted territory for health professionals and may have implications for clients, for example, those who are marginalized or isolated. Families experiencing difficult communication between members may also find internet or email communication a less threatening way to reconnect than telephone or face-to-face meetings. King et al., 1998. Online dispute resolution is used to resolve varying disputes such as family, workplace, e-commerce, insurance and political conflict. Conley Tyler Rains, 2006. Yet very little research has occurred so far which has examined its efficacy, and less still that is specific to its application to family dispute resolution. Rains, 2006. May 2007. Catherine Graham, Director of Resolution Online, reported that as yet no evaluation has occurred, but the business has grown considerably. Once couples are engaged and on board with the process, the sessions work as effectively as face-to-face and are particularly suitable for removing the emotion from a situation and for relationships with a history of violence. The differing locations of parties is the main reason given for engaging with resolution online, and assessing parties' ability to use the online medium is considered important. A formal evaluation is planned for the future. K. Graham, Personal Communication, 17th March 2009. 3.8 Summary. It is difficult to say that online counseling is more beneficial than face-to-face individual counseling. But as in today's world every person is busy and cannot take time to resolve the emotional issues, e-counseling would be a demand after some time. But whether there is individual face-to-face counseling or e-counseling, it should be taken by the trained professionals. The client should get benefited by it, and in all counseling session ethical issues should also be taken care of. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates, and we will see you with the next chapter.